Depending on who you ask, they'll tell you I'm a legend. From YO to the Veil to the Mongo spot on Creston. Always been 1,000, never ever been a lame. Lay a nigga down for these 3 letters on my chain.
Top of the top, y'all, what's going on, man? This is your homeboy, your G, your motherfucking nigga, J Hood and all that. And right now, you are tuned into a brand new episode of the Tales from the Hood vlog series, man. By now, y'all should know what I'm about to ask y'all. Run my numbers up, support the kid, go stream or download my brand new album entitled Self. And while you at it, grab up the Pesci Part 1, Pesci Part 2, and Pesci Part 3. All of them albums are available right now on all digital streaming platforms, along with all my other albums and my other music. So support the kid, you hear me? All right, so look, man, on today's episode, we're going to talk about a real classical, historic battle that I was fortunate enough to be part of in the early 2000s. And the battle I'm speaking about is the D Block versus G Unit battle. All right, I know a lot of y'all been asking me about this shit for a real long time, so today we're going to speak about that. All right, so firstly, I've always been a fan of 50, you know what I mean? Like, I used to come to the lab and tell dudes, you know, about new music that he was dropping, you know, before, you know, the quote-unquote beef started. I used to be like, yo, I ain't gonna lie, this nigga dropping this nigga dropping that, this shit hard, I ain't gonna front, like, this nigga got these niggas is dope, blah, blah, blah. Kids used to ride around knocking them as well, speaking about the Who Kid mixtapes and all that other type of shit. Like, this was when Kids had the X5. We used to ride around in the joint, you know what I mean, bumping the Who Kid mixtapes and shit like that. So, you know, niggas was up on them. You feel me? Like, it wasn't no problem at the time. We, like, oh, these niggas is dope, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be, in a minute, they gonna get their shot, and these niggas gonna be a force to be reckoned with. So now, fast forward a little bit. Kids do the I'm from New York joint with Fat Joe, right, and Ja Rule. So when he do that record, like, we already know that, you know, just knowing, you know, how 50 moves, and, you know, just from hearing him speak and getting somewhat of a sense of his mentality when it comes to beef, we knew that it might be a chance that he might look at this collaboration in a certain way and try to, you know what I mean, like, come for this nigga Kiss, no more. So we was already somewhat prepared for it. So when he dropped this I'm From New York record, you know, of course it went crazy. Airwaves and all that, all on the East Coast and all on other, you know, urban radio and shit like that. So we started hearing about a rumor that 50 was preparing to drop a record called Piggy Bank, you know what I mean? Like, he started hyping it up, you know, started speaking about it, letting different blogs know that he about to drop this record where he's supposed to be dissing Kiss, Fat Joe, and you know, Ja Rule and all this other type of shit. So, you know, he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's building up the anticipation to the record, you know what I mean? You know, he's a marketing genius. So he's building this shit up. So, you know, we sitting there in the studio in suspense. We like, okay, what's this record gonna be about? So we kind of pre-planning a retaliation in the lab, because at this time we used to just all be sitting in the lab collectively, just brainstorming and bouncing ideas off one another and shit like that. We had Super Mario. He was like our Shy Money. You know what I'm saying? Shy Money was they dude over there. Super Mario was our dude. He used to work PR for Bad Boy and shit, so he was a president in D Block. So we had him. He used to distribute all our music to the mixtapes and shit like that. So all of us used to sit in the lab and just, you know what I mean, like, plan and brainstorm shit. So once we heard that that record was supposed to be dropping, we like, okay, once this dropped, we never heard it, but we got to think of how we gonna counter this shit. Even though it was mainly for Kiss, he had our support, and we used to just like be like, you know what, it'd be smart if you do this and you take this route. So once the Piggy Bank came out, and we hear it, we like, yo, we start laughing and shit, man. We like, clickety clang. Man, what the fuck is this shit, man? Like, you got 50, clickety clang, clickety clang. The money goes into my piggy bank. We like, yo, man, I ain't gonna lie. Man, this shit, this ain't what we thought it was gonna be. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, it's gonna get a response, but it ain't what we thought it was gonna be. It was like some elementary type of shit. But 50, in his defense, he did say that it was just a warning shot on the record. So, okay, so Kiss decided to do the animal freestyle. Rad ass nigga using animal, that shit. You know what I'm saying? So he did that shit. You know what I mean? That's when he was like, nigga, you ain't the king of New York. You live in Connecticut. You feel me? Like, barred him down, right? So that shit came out. Mixtapes went crazy. Now it's lit. Lit now. You know what I mean? Now everybody, oh shit, yo, Kiss and 50, D Block versus G Unit, it's about to go down and all that shit. So, like I said, we already pre-planning for the next move, right? So after that, sometime like after that, this nigga 50 come out with the I Run New York record. I don't go to parties, little nigga. I run New York. The walls have ears, little nigga. I hear when you talk. Hey, yo, that's when he was like, yo, man, who told this little nigga he could talk to me like that? Catch him up, ball him up, roll him down the hill or something. Hey, yo, D, why? You want to talk to me? You know, that was shit. So, that was a little bit more entertaining than the first record that he dropped. So we laughing at the shit and all that. Like, okay, now we getting somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was kind of funny. You know what I mean? Like, yo, your dirty ass better get that jewelry back, nigga. We in the lab laughing and shit. We like, okay, what we gonna do now, man? You know what I mean? Now we can hit this nigga a little harder. You feel me? Because it's getting interesting now. So, we sitting in the lab, and that's when he came up with the idea to do the checkmate joint. We like, yeah, you throw this checkmate shit out right here. This gonna be a fucking uppercut. You feel me? Uppercut the shit out this nigga. Checkmate. Drop it. Streets went crazy. You know what I mean? Like, bananas. Like, this nigga, it ain't no way he could counter this shit right here. After that drop, my niggas just kept fucking jabbing him and jabbing him and jabbing him. You know what I mean? Like, after that, we like, yo, what's next? We gotta hit the nigga with the, like, listen, his last name is Jackson. Outkast came out with the Sorry Miss Jackson. Would it be more creative than to come out with a record called Sorry Miss Jackson? Niggas like, oh, hell yeah, that should be dope. My niggas drop a freestyle to the Sorry Miss Jackson Outkast beat. Curtains. There's no way he could come back from that, you know what I mean? So niggas did that record, barred him down, got real disrespectful on that shit, you know what I mean? Like, and it was basically over from there, you know what I mean? Like, after that, you had Loosh dropping other records on the side, just fucking killing them, you know what I mean? Like, Kiss and SP already killing this nigga. Then you had Loosh dropping other shit on the side, countering them and just hitting them with fucking blindside punches and shit like that. Like, you know what I mean? So it's no way that this nigga could really like react realistically and win in this situation, because it was like the fight's been fixed, man. You know what I mean? Like, it was over already. Me and Loosh dropping like Hey 50 freestyles and all those other type of shit that we doing. And to be honest with you, they didn't really want me to get like directly involved in that as far as like saying anyone's names for some weird reason. Like, you know what I mean? Just like the state property shit. They didn't want me to like really say nobody's names because they didn't want people to think I'm trying to capitalize off of that shit just to get my name up type of shit. Even though that's what the beat was about, and you have to ride off that to promote whatever you got going on. That's the strategic way to do things, you know what I mean? But they didn't, want to take that route. So they had me speaking indirect and shit like that. Me and SP did the G joint song on his album, where we threw a couple shots at them. And I took it upon myself to go drop other records like the Die Tonight 50 disc, you know what I'm saying? Somebody gonna die tonight. You know what I mean? I dropped that shit. That shit was hard for the niggas that really fuck with me. They bumped that shit, you know what I mean? And it was like another 50 discs I had dropped too. And then after the shit, I ain't gonna say it was over, but after the smoke was starting to clear and SP and Kiss stopped dropping, shits about them niggas, nigga, Luch ain't stopped. Luch kept going, like, you know what I mean? Luch kept dropping joints on this nigga, you know what I mean? Kept hitting him and kept hitting him and kept hitting him. Niggas like, God damn, Luch, you kicking a dead dog, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nigga, God damn, man. You know what I mean? 50 wasn't responding at this point anymore, but Luch kept kicking him, you know what I'm saying? And of course, when I say kicking a dead dog, I don't mean that in the sense of his career being like over, because that's like, I would be speaking like outrageously if I did that, because everybody knows the nigga done sold 10 million records and all that shit, and we wasn't fucking with him record sales wise. But as far as like the beef, it was over. You know what I mean? Like the shit had died down, and it wasn't a thing no more, because niggas had already declared D-Block the winners and shit like that. But it was a classic time in hip hop. Like, that era was so dope. You had to be there. Even me explaining it to you isn't even really doing justice. You know what I mean? Because it was just the whole ambiance and the whole feeling that we had of being in the lab together and just putting our brains together to come up with ideas and, you know what I mean, ways to strategize, going to war with this nigga and all this other shit, and, the way that the consumers were anticipating the responses from us, and going to the radio stations and, being asked about these questions, and just everything about that shit was just so crazy, man. Like, the shit can't be replicated. The shit can never be duplicated. That energy was just different, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm happy to say I was a part of that. That was like one of the dopest battles. You feel me? So, it's a lot of other shit I could speak about with that, but I gotta save a little bit. So, you know what I mean? Like, so I hope that y'all can sit with that and digest that. And, just like always, I wanted to share that little piece of information about this battle with y'all. So on that note, man, I hope everybody have a prosperous and productive day. Until next time.